Do you ever find yourself wondering if you're holding your bow correctly, or maybe something feels a little bit off, but you're not quite sure what it is or how to fix it? Well, today we're talking about the top 3 mistakes that I often see people make with their right hand and what you can do to fix them. Hi, I'm Lauren, a professional violinist and fiddle player currently living in Nashville, Tennessee, and I help thousands of people achieve their violin and fiddle goals. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. We'd love to have you here. So last time I shared 3 of the most common mistakes that I see people make all the time with their left hand, and today we're talking about the right hand and some common bow mistakes that I tend to see come up quite a bit. And if you find yourself guilty of making any of these mistakes, we'll also talk about how you can fix and prevent them. So the first mistake that I often see beginner violinists make with their right hand is the banana thumb. And what I mean by that is holding the bow with your thumb in this position, so extended or curved in the opposite direction versus bent, which is the correct way. So we want to make sure that when we are making a bow hold, we're placing the thumb in this little notch here in the frog, making sure the thumb is bent, and then setting the rest of the fingers. So that is mistake number 1. You want to make sure that you are watching out for. Mistake number 2 that I see students make all of the time is the bow hold creep. And this just essentially means that the fingers are slowly creeping to the top of the bow instead of staying in the lowered position on the frog, which is what we want. So in order to prevent this, make sure that you are keeping an eye specifically on the 2 middle fingers and that you are keeping them securely on this solid part of the bow, the frog, and making sure that they don't start to slip up to the top of the bow. That goes for your index finger as well. Of course, the pinky, we want to be sitting on top of the bow, but the rest of the fingers, they need to be in that slightly lowered position for a more secure bow hold. And you'll notice that it'll feel a lot more stable that way too. And lastly, mistake number 3 that I often see new violinists make with their right hand is having the wrist too high, or the gooseneck wrist. And this just basically means that your wrist is higher than your hand and your elbow, and ultimately that is just not great for our tone and stability, and can also place quite a bit of a strain on your muscles in this area. So instead, what we want to do is we want to make sure that our wrist is lowered to the level of our arm, and you'll notice that everything is nice and even in this position. We're keeping everything nice and neutral among the muscle groups, and that gives us a lot more stability and also flexibility with the hand and with the fingers, and will allow us to have a much better tone and overall better control of the bow. So those are my top 3 mistakes that I often see people make with the bow when they're first starting out on the violin. Let me know in the comments below, are you guilty of making any of these mistakes? Have you corrected any of these mistakes or maybe broken bad habits? If so, definitely let us know. And if you're enjoying these videos, I hope you'll let me know as well. And until next time, happy practicing.